Hello guys, and welcome to my channel. Now, this is going to be a slightly different video to what I would normally create. This is mainly about board games, and board games is one of my other passions, apart from video games. And indeed, I did stop playing video games. I'm actually still disillusioned with video games currently, and I'm playing more board games than video games. But anyway, so if you don't know who this company, who I'm about to go into, what they are and what they do, then I will explain that very briefly. So the company in question is called CMON, and they used to be known as Cool Mini or Not. Now, CMON were until recently one of the biggest miniature and board game developers and publishers in the world, kind of like EA or Ubisoft, in which they would publish and also develop their own games as well. They're best known for the Zombicide series, Deceased, Marvel United, and they have created other gems like Massive Darkness, Cthulhu Death May Die, Arcadia Quest, and one of my other favourites, Project Elite. Now, I was lucky enough to have been one of the backers for their very first crowdfunded game, which was the original Zombicide, followed by their subsequent expansions and add-ons such as Toxic City Mall, Angry Neighbours, Prison Outbreak, and Rue Morgue. This is a picture here of the games that I still have, or some of the games. And in fact, my Rue Morgue is still factory sealed, so I haven't actually gotten around to playing that, but that was released on their first Kickstarter, as I said, back in 2012. Now, some of you may be more familiar with their follow-up series, Zombicide Black Plague, instead, together with the many spin-offs. However, Zombicide was and is still, in effect, their most profitable IP. Anyway, they would go on to generate up to $108 million in financial backing from Kickstarter alone, and would be classified as one of the majors of the board gaming industry. You'll see this term flouted quite regularly, CMON being one of the majors, being one of the leaders of the crowdfunding board game industry, and these guys and girls were essentially at the top of the world. Heck, they were even traded on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. In 2024, they signed an exclusive deal, however, with the board game orientated crowdfunding site GameFound. However, it was also around this time that trouble began to brew for CMON. You see, CMON blamed rising living costs affecting its customers' ability to buy games for its 17% drop in revenue last year, in 2024, which fell to about $37.4 million from $45 million in 2023, according to its most recent annual report. Then CMON announced a profit warning with projected 2024 losses of between 1.4 million and 2.1 million, actually culminating in an over $3 million loss, so more than was actually anticipated. As you can imagine, the stakeholders, shareholders, were probably very concerned about this. Also, according to Board Game Wire website, they had their shares suspended from the Hong Kong Stock Exchange for a month due to failure to disclose their financial reports in time, which they attributed to a shortage of staff within the finance department. This was as a result of having to lay off all their creative staff and halting all their new games with the intention of focusing on their existing portfolio. Then, only last week or so, announcing that they had sold their entire Zombicide portfolio to the French publisher Asmodee for an undisclosed fee. There were a few exceptions to that, but apart from that, the whole of the Zombicide series, or the IP, has now been sold to Asmodee. Now, CMON have given the impression that, coupled with the rise in living costs as well as the Trump administration's tariffs on international goods, it made their position untenable. However, let's not forget here that the trouble was already brewing well before Trump came back into the office. Now, I'm not going to go into the causes of their current situation, but because I'd be here forever, but I will go into some interesting information that I came across recently. Now, going back to Board Game Wire's article, we can see that they allude to the fact that the company said that that when the shareholder deal fell through, that it was now seeking other fundraising means to increase its general working capital in order to enlarge its capital base, increase the overall liquidity of its shares, and strengthen the company's financial position. It did not say why the potential stakeholders revealed in the latest financial report, Drum Group Limited and Manor Pool Investments. So bear those two names in mind. Drum Group Limited and Manor Pool Investments had decided not to press ahead with investing in CMON. Now, according to another website, wargamer.com, on April the 13th, 2024, CMON entered into a share subscription agreement with investors Drum Group Limited and Manor Pool Investments Limited. This was set to create new shares and sell them to the firms for a total of 1.34 million Hong Kong dollars. That's 10.4 million Hong Kong dollars. Once the sale was complete, each firm would hold a 8.33% of total shares in CMON. But in another statement to investors on March the 5th this year, CMON announced that the deal had hit an impasse. CMON is apparently still holding on to the shares because, as at the date of this announcement, the company has still not received the sum of 10.4 million Hong Kong dollars from its subscribers. The firm adds that the shares were issued in physical form and kept in the custody of CMON and were not delivered to the subscribers at all material times. So that's interesting. Okay, so there's been some issues with these two investment companies. I mean, I think we can safely say that they're investment organizations with some sort of investment portfolio. But the first thing that came to my mind was, well, I've never heard of these guys, so let's have a look into them. So firstly, there's Drum Group. Now this one is problematic, and I might actually need your help on this one. So according to what I can see, the Drum Group are a property development, investment and management company. They focus on award-winning projects across various sectors like business space, residential, retail, industrial and leisure. Now I can see no other company that would fit the description here. Firstly, Board Game Wire and Wargamer both state it's limited company, which in the UK and many other countries, it's basically the equivalent to the LLC or limited liability company over in the United States. I cannot be sure this is the right company, however. There is another company that appears on searches called Drum Development Group Limited. However, they don't quite fit the bill, and they're based in Aberdeen in Scotland. Anyway, I'm not going to spend too long on this, as I'm not too sure if it's the correct Drum Group, but it's apparently based in the UK. Using the UK government's Companies House website, we can see that they're currently undergoing liquidation, which is defined as the process of bringing a business to an end and distributing its assets to claimants, which occur when a company becomes insolvent. In this case, Drum Group filed for voluntary liquidation, which might explain why they couldn't invest in CMON. I mean, these documents are publicly available, but again, I'm not entirely sure this is the right company, but it kind of fits the bill. There are, however, indications that it could be the Drum Group that is part of the Omnicom Media Group over in New York, who specialise in media planning and buying, digital and interactive marketing, sports and events marketing, field marketing and brand consultancy. I mean, it could possibly be that, but as I said, I don't know. If you have any information about Drum Group Limited, then please comment below. Okay, so moving on to the next company, which is even more interesting. Okay, so Medium.com recently released an article about Manor Pool, in which it states that in recent months, serious allegations have emerged against Manor Pool, a so-called investment platform that has left countless individuals feeling deceived and financially ruined. Lured by promises of high returns and low risk, many investors placed their trust in this scheme, only to discover that they had been misled. The severity of the situation has spurred chancellorlimited.co.uk, again, in relation to the UK, into action, advocating for justice and compensation for those affected by this scam. Interesting facts, yet again, that may go some way in explaining CMON's lackluster financial relationships and workings in recent times. I've posted links to most of the points raised in today's video in the description. If you want to comment or have any additional information about this, then please do. And that's it from me. So until next time, goodbye.